Hey y'all, it's Ashley and I am back with a scrapbook process video, and this is a 12 by 12 layout, and I'm just showing you some of the products that I'm going to be using from various collections. I pulled a lot of stuff from crepe paper. These are tags from Heidi Swap that I got from Michaels. I do have some thickers there that I am not going to use, but I did pull them. And then here are some of the papers from the Hello Love collection, crepe papers collection, and I got those papers from Michaels. So I am starting off with a white background, and I am going to um, place part of this wood grain paper on the top half and then a strip on the bottom. And then I am going to use my tape runner or my ATG gun to try to get that placed on there straight, but I actually have to end up pulling it up and putting it back down. I pick it up and then I realize it's a little crooked, so then I pull it back up. Of course it rips, and then I'm going to place it back down. Here you go. And then I'm going to trim my photo, and this, I believe this size is a 3x3 photo, which is one of my favorite sizes of scrapbook. And I feel like the smaller the photo, the more layers you can add, I guess. And then especially if you're scrapbooking a lot with 6x6 paper pads, um, having a smaller size photo like that makes it much easier to mat your papers. So I'm just going to go through some of the papers in this collection. One thing that I'm keeping in mind is that the background is half white and then part wood grain, and so I want it to pop. And so I know that the last layer pretty much needs to be a color, and so I decided to use that same ombre paper for my first layer and then for my last layer. And then I'm going to add various things throughout the process here. So one thing I am going to pull that I haven't shown are some of my homemade embellishments that I've been working on and showing through on my process videos. And so as I pull those out, I'll show you guys which ones I'm using. I know I used the wood buttons that I created, the toothpick that I created, the clothespins, I think the floral crepe paper pieces that I made, and then there might be one other thing that I use. So I'm thinking I'm going to use that tag, and I actually completely forgot to use it. So I pulled some other things and then placed it there, and then I set that tag aside and then completely forgot. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I do want it to kind of go horizontally across the page, and so I decided to make that I guess the theme of the layout is to place things more towards the top of the page and then going horizontally. Here's where I'm just going to combine some of the layers, and I have cut a few things from that 12 by 12 paper that has all the it's the white paper that has the black words on it, and then I'm just going to use my glue gun for just added texture and height. And then I also cut that little square piece that says I love you, which I actually use as my title. I cut that from a 12 by 12 cut apart from the same collection, the Hello Love collection. And then a lot of the other things are just from various collections that I've picked from. And and a lot of them being crepe paper, and I thought that I had wanted to use that super purple glitter tape, which I really love, but I thought it would kind of throw off the color scheme. Um, this is one of my homemade embellishments, and I trimmed it down because I felt like it was a little too big for this particular corner, and so I decided to just trim it down. And that's pretty. When you make those, they're pretty easy to trim if you want them smaller. Here's another one of my homemade embellishments, and those are the toothpick. I think the most recent DIY embellishment video, and it's the toothpick floral piece. I'm going to fussy cut this. This is also from the cut apart paper, and I'm going to fussy cut that and then add it right underneath that I love you piece. I wanted that because it had some of that aqua mint color, and then I have the aqua mint color in that feather, and then I'm going to add it in a few other places here in a second. I could not find my little precision scissors for the life of me, so I had to use those giant scissors to, and I think those are fabric scissors that I was using, but I had to use those to cut that, and that kind of made it a little bit more difficult. Um, Here's where I'm going to just add a few of my punched butterflies, and I'm really getting a lot of good use out of my punches, and I hardly ever pull them out. But now that my room, the scrapbook room, is clean, I things are a lot more accessible. There's another one of my pieces. I added another floral toothpick, and then well, no, actually I didn't. I added just a floral piece that I put together real quick, and then I added a little clothespin that has a heart on it, and that's just a punched heart from my stash. And then I took my label punch and cut kind of like a ticket label type thing, and then I'm adding that to the top cluster, and then I'm going to add another little label cut apart from my stash. And I think that's pretty much it, with the exception of I add a wood piece. It's not a wood button, but it's like a wood banner that says "Hello Love," and I add it right onto the photo. And then I added a Dear Lizzie. Just kidding, I do add a few more things, but I added one of the Dear Lizzie roller date stamps, and that says XOXO. And I'm adding a few more butterflies from my paper punch, and those are Martha Stewart punches. And that's it, and here are the close-ups. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you'll have a great week.